We are back. Two lives in one day, y'all. Matt Garland, NMLS number 58700, better known as MG the Mortgage Guy. So look, today we're going to talk about no cost refinancing, right? So rates went down last week. They went up. They went down a week before, then they went up during the Fed funds announcement. And over the past week, 2 weeks, we're getting a lot of refinance inquiries. So I figured, you know what, let me come on here tonight and have this conversation with you guys real quick about refinancing and no cost refinancing. All right. Y'all with me? All right. So throw some gems in the comment. If you are a homeowner, throw some gems. If you're interested in refinancing, you can always work with me and my team. Let me just put that on the email, garlandgroup@unmb.com. If you guys want to work with me and my team, I'm going to put that on the screen real quick so that way you guys see the email right then and there. All right, so let's talk about no cost refinancing. Is it really a thing or is it cap? Right? So everybody wants to refinance, but nobody wants to pay thousands of closing costs. What a lot of you guys don't realize is when you do a refinance, you have to pay closing costs. And shout out to my brother Haitian CEO in the chat, right? You have to pay closing costs. But there's a lot of advertisements and realtors and people that will always go out here and talk about there's no cost when you do a refinance, or you can do a no cost refinance. And I'm here to tell you that is not true at all, right? Now, let's talk about the basics of refinancing for those of you who might not know, okay? The refinance replaces your old loan with a new one, right? You can lower your rate to reduce your monthly payment. You can change your loan term. You can tap into your equity, or you can change refinance out of a FHA into a conventional loan, or to a conventional loan to a FHA loan. So there's many different reasons and motivations of why you will want to refinance. But every refinance comes with closing costs, right? Type it in chat. You got lender fees, you got appraisal fees, you got title fees, you got sometimes the state, you will have recording fees for the state and the county that you live in, right? You're going to have fees. These fees can be up to 5 to 6% of the loan amount. You also have to set up a new escrow. But when you refinance, if you have an escrow account, if you have an escrow balance, you can use that escrow balance to kind of offset the new escrow, right? So that's kind of the basics, or a refresher of refinancing, right? Let's break this down about no cost refinancing, because this is extremely important, right? And what does this truly mean? No cost doesn't mean the bank works for fee. Banks are not non-for-profits, ladies and gentlemen. Banks are not non-for-profits. They are here to make money. Nobody is going to do your loan for free, okay? When a bank is saying they are doing a no-cost refinance, it means the lender is covering the upfront cost in exchange for a slightly higher interest rate than the market. Okay? So how does this work? The lender will give you a credit. It could be a rebate, but all it is we're upselling the rate. Let's just say you qualify for 6.5%, but if I need to really do a no-cost refinance, because you might not have a lot of equity, blah, 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 the rate can be 7.25% to 7.5%, just depending on the size of your loan and how much of premium pricing that we can get for your particular scenario to get a premium that's large enough to pay majority of your closing costs, right? That credit will offset the appraisal fees, title fees, could possibly offset your origination fees, etc., etc. But your rate is going to be higher than what you would have paid if you just got the lower rate, right? So if you paid your closing costs in the loan and just financed the closing costs, your rate will be cheaper. So you have to weigh out the pros and cons. When you're doing a no cost, quote unquote, refinance, if you are getting a higher interest rate than market because the lender has to use this rebate to pay for your closing costs, how much more are you going to pay in the long term by doing this? In most case scenarios, to me, it doesn't make sense. Okay. But here are some of the pros of this, right? Because there are situations where you have to do some sort of a credit and use premium pricing when you're on the lender side, because the LTV might not be, there might not be enough room in the deal because of the appraisal value or something like that to roll in all the closing costs. So we have to use premium pricing to kind of offset that, so you have no cash out of pocket, right? So these things, it could make sense in that perspective, but the major con, like I just explained, is you're going to pay a higher interest rate than you would normally. Okay, that makes sense. Y'all tracking on YouTube? Y'all tracking on IG? Y'all following me so far? Just want to make sure everybody is following me so far. Okay. Everybody type in chat FHA Streamline. FHA Streamline. So when you take out a FHA loan, y'all, or even a VA loan, you can do a FHA Streamline Refinance, or you can do a EARL, interest rate reduction loan with VA. So the Streamline Refinance is a program that's strictly for FHA current homeowners, right? And it's designed to make it easier and cheaper to refinance into a lower rate or payment. There's no appraisal required in most cases. There's no income verification, which makes the process streamlined, right? Lower documentation overall to make the process go much faster. You must already have a FHA loan, and you must be current with your mortgage payments in the last 12 months. You still have closing costs, but the closing costs are often reduced with a streamline loan. And you'll be able to roll certain amount of costs into the loan. But the most important part with the streamline is the government doesn't allow us, FHA doesn't allow us to include, I think, no more than 5,000 and rolled into the loan. So in most cases, we as a lender have to use premium pricing to give a lender credit to offset the difference. So that way you do not pay closing costs out of pocket. But how we on the lending side is going to sell this is that typically the month that you're going to close in, since you're already doing a payoff and your payment is going to be included into that payoff, the lender will say, hey, if we're going to close before the 10th of the month, then bring that mortgage payment to the closing table, so that way it helps offset some of those costs. Because sometimes if you do a large lender credit using premium pricing, the rate will be high enough and it doesn't make both sense and sense from a refinance perspective, right? Every situation is different when it comes to the streamline refinance. I'm just trying to give y'all general information. So if you have a FHA loan and you're thinking about doing a FHA streamline, you have baseline information to do so when you're having conversations. You should all be working with me and my team. We're going to give you the best deal possible. But if you decide not to use us, at least you have the information. Okay. Now, again, this is a great tool and a product this is a great feature, I should say, of FHA loans because no appraisal, no income documentation, just need to be on time with your mortgage. It's reduced costs. You can get closed 7-10 days, depending on lender, with a FHA Streamline. All right. So when you're doing a no-cost refinance, a lot of people like to advertise and market that especially when it's hot with refinances. Just understand there are still costs with any of these loans, streamline loans, no cost conventional refinance loans. There's costs, but they're trying to use it as marketing to get you to refinance. You're still paying costs. You're paying it in your rate. You're going to pay it out of pocket. You're paying it with a lender credit, but there are going to be costs because the government, the state you live in, they're not going to do nothing for free if you're doing a real estate transaction. The title companies are not going to do their title report and issue title insurance and do all of this work for free. So there are costs. I just want you all to be aware of that because a lot of you have been hitting me up about potentially refinance and talking about, well, I heard about this. And it's like, I don't know what the hell's going on online right now, but it seems like when one person sees it, everyone sees it. And then people are reaching out to me for clarification or can this happen? Okay. So are we in full understanding of an interest rate, the interest rate reduction is basically like the Streamline, but for VA, right? Basically like the same thing. Shout out to Brandon Greer. Hey, I didn't get a chance to meet you in Cleveland. Shout out to everybody, and thank you, Brandon, for the super chat. I appreciate it. Shout out to everybody that I met in Cleveland. Shout out to my brother Beyond when I was in Cleveland this past weekend for the last lap, his in the field training. It was phenomenal. I met so many amazing people. I had about 6 or 7 of my mentees there with me too. I had a great VIP night, bowling event. Then we was on the field in Cleveland we went to go see about 4 or 5 different properties, and there was a classroom training. It was phenomenal. The energy was incredible. Shout out to my brother, Beyond Win, and everybody that I met there. All right. But appreciate the super chat. All right. So that's all I got for you guys tonight. If you new to the channel, shout out to my brother Ron. My man Ron, I see you out there in Houston putting in that work out there, player. I love to see that. Shout out to everybody, man, who's out here executing at a very high level. You ain't got to be perfect, but you got to execute, right? And my brother Ron is out here executing, and so many other people, man. Like I told you, I was in Cleveland, man, and just see so many hungry people out there learning about real estate in the field. I mean, it was incredible. All right. Shout out to the mentees in the building, right? My inner circle is lit. Seriously. Shout out to my guy Starstruck Collection, man. This was good, brother. Thank you. I appreciate you, bro, for tapping in. I definitely need to get some new drip, man, because your drip is fantastic. It's incredible. So I'm definitely going to be hitting you up, man. I'm about to place another order. I need to get some fall gear. So I'm definitely going to keep representing the brand. I only got that one suit, and I definitely need to get more. All right. So this was quick, to the point. I'm coming back live probably tomorrow again. I went live today twice on YouTube and Instagram. If you're not tapped in, if you're on IG, you want to watch the replay of this, go over to my YouTube channel, MG the Mortgage Guy. I appreciate for everybody tapping in. Or if you're on IG, just comment YouTube, and the bot will send you the link to subscribe to the channel if you want to watch the replay of this. I did a video earlier about the FHA MIP bill. that is hopefully will get passed, so that way we can get rid of PMI once you get a certain amount of equity. All right. Tomorrow I got some more things I want to chop it up about, but I think this is what gonna be my new format moving forward, y'all. Is just coming on as often as I can when I got something I want to speak about, whether it's 10 minutes, 15 minutes, just good information. And I got some lessons that I want to teach. And I think tomorrow I'm gonna do some teaching tomorrow about a few different things, right? I'll probably bring up some slides, who knows, right? But I want to get to some teaching, y'all, because I want to really give you guys some information that's going to help you execute and scale your business. And my real estate professionals, I got a lot coming with you guys too. All right. So appreciate y'all. Glad y'all tapped in with me tonight. Matt Garland, NMLS number 58700, but I'm better known as MG the Mortgage Guy. Peace.